Welcome to Chats con Sabor. This is Linda, and I'm here with my beautiful co-hosts, Yvette and Joanna. Thank you for joining us. And today we're going to have a conversation just about female friendships, which I think it's really fun given a friendship.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and I think it'll be a little interested to maybe start about how we met and how
Yeah.
we have organically become friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been what, a year and a couple months of development of. If you would have asked me, let's say 2 years ago, I would have never thought this was happening.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I did not see that on my magic ball. Even when I asked, am I gonna get friends?
It's all cloudy.
It's so cloudy. Where are they? I mean, I don't know about you ladies, but I feel like I've always struggled having those strong female friendships.
Yeah.
It's always been more like seasonal.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I could have a good friend during this time in my life, but then we grow, we change, life happens, and they stayed 5 years ago, and we maybe talk once a year.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have friendships. I was explaining this to Joanna one time that I have friends that I don't see them or talk to them, very often. There's no constant like communication, like every day or even once a week. But then when we meet up and we start, hanging out or we talk on the phone, it's like we pick up right where we left off.
Yes.
And I myself have always been super, super picky, not just about men. But also about the women that I allow into my life, because unfortunately women can be so freaking catty and just very two-faced, and there's envy, there's jealousy, there's all kinds of stuff that ever since I was younger, I mean, I've experienced that. So I'm very picky about the people that I allow into my life.
Yeah.
It feels special.
I feel special too. How did you think I was worthy to be picked up at a bar? Of all places.
Linda.
I remember that day. I remember I walked into the bar and I was meeting a friend and there was nowhere to sit and I had to wait for a table. I put my name in and then I wanted to go sit at the bar, but the bar was full. Well, there's Linda sitting with two empty chairs on either side of her. So I'm like, And let me tell you, the Virgo in me was like, okay, in my mind, if I'm here by myself, but then I was like, maybe she has a friend or a date. But then when I found out she was by herself, I was like, why is she sitting in the middle seat? Because then you split up people.
True, but, well, not that it's going to make it any better. But I was there since earlier. So people were giving me space by giving I did not sit in the middle of three chairs.
Yeah.
Okay, guys? That's just how the night evolved.
I asked if it was taken and you're like, no, sit down. And we just started talking and I'm all about energy with people. So, if somebody gives me kind of like bad energy or I just get a vibe with people, then I won't pursue it. I would have been sitting there on my phone. You know what I mean? Like ignoring you, giving you your space, you give me mine. I don't know. Your energy just kind of drew me to you. And we just started talking. I think I started asking you if you were there by yourself. And I never, ever talk to people. And people say that I'm snobby or whatever. It's not that. It's just, again, I'm very picky about the people that I allow into my life. So I'm not a conversation starter. Now, if people come up to me and talk to me, I'll talk. I don't feel like I'm snobby or unapproachable. I just feel I'm not that type of person, very outgoing.
I'm not going to lie. Now that I know you much better, I think it's so crazy because the way that you were with me is not the way that you are with strangers.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like I could have thought, or I probably thought at that moment, like, you're so like, what is it, outgoing and kind of like your cousin, right? That she's a social butterfly and she talks to this person and to the other person and she's
I'm so opposite.
Exactly. And you're not. You stay. If you get somewhere and you're walking into a group, you're gonna have manners and you say hi to everybody, but then it's just you and your people.
Yeah. Exactly.
For the most part, until Friendly Yvette comes out.
Friendly Yvette likes to come out to play every now and then.
Yes,
but that's your Sagittarius.
But that day you were sober. You had not. Yeah, I just got in there.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it was one of those like divine appointments.
Yeah. Yeah.
where we were just meant to because I again, well, you know me, not very social until I want to. And then the fact that you're an introvert, then well, anywho, I think it was just meant to be. And then you introduced me to this beautiful girl here.
I did. How do you think that went the first time? I mean, I know again it was another bar setting, but I invited Linda
Surprise,
out.
surprise.
And Joe was there. And so what was your first impression on
I think it was just a natural thing with everyone like together. I mean, just supernatural. The conversation was good. Linda wasn't standoffish. She was very talkative, and I thought it went great. I was like, she told me, she's like, you're gonna meet her and you're going to love her. And so it was cool. It was a good first meeting, and then after that, because I'm social when I drink, but I'm kind of standoffish, and I keep people as arm's length.
Yeah.
Until I really know who you are.
Mhm.
And with Yvette, I was friends with her cousin.
Yes.
And then she moved to Georgia, and she was like, you gotta take out my cousin. You guys have to go to dinner. Because we were all both by ourselves.
Yeah.
So then we built a relationship from there, started taking trips together, and just got closer. And then we brought in Linda.
They adopted me.
So, I mean,
she was adopted.
we love her. So it was like an easy thing. There was no work, no, it was just a natural.
It was very organic.
Yeah.
I will agree with
that
that.
was the word I was going to use.
Like the relationship, little by little, the more we got to hang out with each other and got to know each other, our stories. I think to me personally, it meant a lot when we started having these conversations, and now we're having camera on the mic, and we're naturally almost like giving advice to each other.
Yes.
But it's more like wisdom. It's more like, okay, this is life, and this is what life has taught me, and and we're all sharing what life has been for us and how we see life in the future and how our perspective has changed. And so that moment, at least to me, was like, wow, okay, this is real. It's not just we're going out for drinks,
right? And not superficial conversations. Although we do have a lot of fun when we're together, obviously, and especially when we've been drinking a little bit more, we kind of let loose, and we're just like, but our conversations have always been very
open.
Yeah. And very deep. I feel like not deep in the sense like, oh my gosh, we're having like serious conversations. Not like that. It's just, they're not superficial. They actually have a lot of substance to our conversations.
You're so eloquent. I was going to say meat and potatoes, but substance works.
The elegance.
So funny. Okay, so the first subtopic I have for you ladies, and thanks for that intro, I liked it. Benefits of having female relationships. So I've been, we are all on social media, and I've been watching different reels and other podcasters, and when they talk about the benefits, like literal physical health benefits to having female friendships, but also mental health benefits to having female friendships. Do you feel like having a strong female bond, not just with one person, but with several different connections, do you feel like they're paramount for us women being who we are and having that mental stability?
I for sure think that is highly important for women to support women, first of all.
Right.
And then having that genuineness that if something happens, you know that those people are there for you. So, I mean, I wish some women would actually open up more to other women so they can build those relationships. I mean, we were organically connected, but at the same time, it took us some things to talk about. Like there's things I talk to Yvette that sometimes I don't talk to Linda about, vice versa, but when we come together, we'll have the full conversation of whatever it is. But it's always good to get somebody else's perspective on any type of advice,
Mhm.
because there might have been something you went through. It's not exactly what I'm going through, but it was very similar, and you had the same reaction, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And just to find that person that can give you that openness
Mhm.
and that true raw, I'm just be honest, be real. Let me
Mhm.
know what it is I need to change. Let me know
Yeah.
where I need to curve it. Let me
Mhm.
know if I just need to take a step back.
Mhm.
I prefer a friend like that than someone that says, it's okay.
Mhm.
Don't worry. You're the best thing since sliced bread. You know, you don't need him. No, tell me what it is that you see that I'm doing to
Mhm.
make this happen. You
Right.
know,
Right.
I think that's super important, and you need to find a friend like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone can call you out on your bullshit,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
How eloquent is that?
Yeah.
I'm about it because I love changing and redirecting. If something is wrong, I want to change that
Yeah.
because I want to be better. I want to be a better friend. I want to be a better mom. I want to be a better sister, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a balance between number one, you have to pick your friends. You have to know the kind of friends to pick, right?
Right.
I think that's important to start with because um, what you're saying is great, right? But then if we make bad decisions with friendships, and then we're gonna ask for advice, and it's not necessarily the best, right?
Right.
Well, selection's
Or
important.
extremely,
I mean,
and that's what I'm
extremely.
getting to. Or they'll go ahead and they'll give you bad advice, like because they're jealous. They want to
Mhm.
see you fail. So you think they're telling you something for your good, but in all reality, they are what is it like? Not like yeah, like secret haters. Like
They're
they
like sabotaging you.
yes,
because
because they pretend to be your friend, but they don't want you to succeed. Because then if you
Yeah.
succeed there, and I think in my opinion, that's a little bit of the struggle for women to have those women friendships
Mhm.
because there's so much animosity and so much immaturity really from the women.
Mhm.
And then you go and you ask for advice, and then your dirty laundry, the whole office knows about it now,
Yes.
or whatever.
I think we have to be more open to not selectively, but we have to be smarter and listen and watch people's actions, because there's
Mhm.
friends that you already have and you've had for years, and they've shown you all these red flags, but you still keep them around because you love them,
Exactly.
and you're like, oh, that's just them. Oh, that's just them, until they're sleeping with your husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what
There
I'm
you
saying?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to pay attention to those red flags. If something
Yes.
doesn't feel right to you, then
Mhm.
it's not right.
Right.
I agree.
But I do think it's extremely pivotal, especially as a support system. You go to work and you have a horrible day at work.
Mhm.
You might not necessarily want to go home to your partner, or even if you don't have a partner, get home and take care of your kids, and then you have all this load. But if on the way home you can call your friend and just let it all out, and they can just because sometimes we just need a good ear,
Yeah.
or a good shoulder to cry on, whatever,
Mhm.
Or a stiff drink.
or a stiff drink. That's it.
That fixes a lot.
We've had some of those conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, piggybacking off of what you said, though, we talk a lot about taking responsibility for ourselves and for our actions and
Mhm.
for who we are, right? We have to also know when not to just dump on our friends. There's a lot of times where we might not even be fully aware that that's what we're doing, and we call them energy vampires, right? It's the people that just take from you. And then when you need somebody to be there, and I think that's the reason why I'm so picky about the people in my life, because they always tell me the same thing. Oh my God, you're so easy to talk to. Men and women, doesn't matter. You're so easy to talk to. You're a good listener. And I am, but at the same time, I don't really need to be hearing all of this all the time. If it's a one-way relationship or one-way friendship, then we have to set our boundaries too.
Yes.
We have
Absolutely.
to be. So,
You also have a good picker with that, because some of your, like, if she's going through something and then I'm listening to her, I'm not going to dump whatever I'm going through at the moment,
right.
on top of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel everything out, and then the next time we'll come back and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Or did I forget to mention, or something like that. Like
Right.
you have to respect that person's not just boundaries, but that person's space. You don't know what that person's going through at that very moment. So you have to be
Exactly.
very
Exactly.
in tune with your friendships.
Yeah. This reminds me at work, at a place I used to work at. I used to always have my door open to my office, and I would literally tell my team, my door is always open. And there was this one girl who would constantly come and, you got a minute? And I'd be like, I'm in the middle of, whatever it was I was doing. So I have 1 minute, that's it. But it's because she was one of those that constant complaining, you know what I mean? Constant coming to me complain. So it's the same thing with friendship. You have to know when to like shut the door a little bit, you know what I mean? And especially me, I'm the type that I'm not very social. So when I am at that point where I'm being social, I open myself up a little bit too much sometimes, and I have to retract and close my doors and just be alone. And people sometimes don't understand that. I remember one time one of my friends was like, she checked on me and she was like, are you depressed? And I'm like, depressed? I don't suffer from depression. So I'm like, what? Like, no, I'm not depressed. Well, you haven't called me, haven't texted me, and I haven't heard from you. And I'm just like, yeah, because I need a little bit of a break. I just need a little break from you, because she was just constantly always on and wanted me to be there as her freaking doormat or punching bag or whatever, Anyway, just being cognizant, I think, of like people's, like
Perfect
you said,
word.
Yeah. Just
Love it.
Be self-aware. And some people are not very self-aware. So right along those lines, I was watching a reel, and the lady was saying, she was a therapist or something, and she was saying that there's something called the female effect. And that means that female friendships, that females, when they're in healthy female friendships, of course, we just talked about like kind of toxic relationships, but the health benefits, some of the health benefits are that we have higher levels of oxytocin. So that's a happy hormone, right? We create higher levels of empathy and compassion when we're in healthy relationships, healthy female relationships. And then it naturally drops our cortisol levels. So we have less stress.
Oh, shit. Then I got to be around you guys all the time.
But I think it's because of that. Like you said, you can decompress, or like when you're driving home, and then you don't take it out on your kids or your husband or whoever, because you have these healthy friendships, these healthy female friendships, right? I just think it's interesting that it's so relevant in today's society, because we're so, social media sometimes I feel is a detriment to our society. Just because people like to vent and vomit everything. They have what is it called, verbal diarrhea? Or,
Yeah.
And they just kind of share they overshare. There's such a thing as oversharing. There are some things that you just gotta work through yourself. I come across some of these sometimes, and there's literally people crying on, why do you take out your phone and record yourself crying? Who wants to see that? Nobody. That's depressing. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It gets the views though.
It does. It does. You're right.
All the compassion and empathy coming from the world, or
all the petty.
Yeah.
But is that like a drug though, you think?
I think it is for some people.
They need that.
It's an addiction.
Absolutely. That's why there's a post that I saw the other day. Like, if you make a post on social media, right, and it says that you got 15 likes, which we clearly know 15 likes is not that much on social media world,
right?
However, if you had 15 people here that saw, let's say, the painting that you just posted, and they were to be doing like this, 15 people, you will feel really good.
Yeah.
But because it's social media, and 15 people told you I like it, they're literally telling you, man, and then you probably have, let's say, 2 comments. Oh, that's cute. That's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
You feel undervalued or underappreciated, or like I said, social media can be it's
sometimes
detrimental.
People take it so personal, they get sick from it.
Yeah.
Like, it's their self-worth, you know?
Like I said, depression and stuff, it causes like these people to just like, oh my God. I think we need to get stricter with our kids, because we need to seriously monitor this and go back to like before all of this happened, When MySpace was a thing, all you were doing was sharing music.
At least in my world.
Yeah.
Because, age gap.
Yeah.
It was this whole thing about who's on your top 5.
Yeah.
The people that you would put, and if you say you're my bestie and you didn't put me in the top 5, And you'd be like, yeah, but there's 3 of us and my boyfriend and my cousin, whatever, if I don't put my cousin, she's going to kill me.
Yeah.
If I, whatever it was. And it was always this like, am I really your friend? I'm not in your so it was a little different, but you're right. It wasn't as a strong rejection, maybe. I don't know what to call it. It was more about the fun. You're right.
Are you kidding me? It's still that way. We're grown adults.
You don't like me that much.
Why is your status still whatever?
Yeah.
Single, married, widow. I mean, they go down the freaking list of shit.
Yeah.
Why am I not part of your family?
Oh,
I mean,
boy.
it's like they actually sit there and dissect your social media.
Yep.
That's wild.
It's insane.
It is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of social media, I just got back on Facebook. I'm grinding my teeth as I say that because
Go get her, people. Go get her.
Don't find her.
it's okay if you don't. Okay. Yeah. So, but the reason I got off was because of that. And what was I telling you? Like 12 years ago, something like that I got off. Yeah, because it wreaked havoc in my life, and I was like, no, this is bullshit. It's bullshit. And then they came up with, Instagram. So I was like, okay, I can do this. Cause before it was
Less
just
cattiness.
it was just pictures. You couldn't put like, now, they have thoughts. That's how I was feeling before. But, anyway, I just recently got back on. It's all because of this though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but I think, and I feel like it's going to be a constant theme for us in all of our episodes. It all comes down to knowing yourself, your self-worth, all these different things, right? You have to be secure on who you are. You have to have self-awareness. You have to have all these different things. Because if not, you're going to try to find your value on what people are thinking of you.
Yep.
And even going back to female friendships, you're not going to have healthy relationships if you don't value yourself, you don't love yourself, then how do you expect other people to love you,
and value you. Yeah, that's very true. So I kind of want to take a little detour.
I love the
A little detour. We've had an episode called Unsolicited Advice that I hope you all enjoyed. We came up with this idea because we wanted to kind of give people our unsolicited advice, right? But now I think we're taking a little slight turn. Like season 2 is about trying different things.
Growing, evolving.
Yes, exactly.
Helping.
So yes, and helping. We've gotten so many messages from our friends, from listeners that they say, that they feel like they're in a therapy session sometimes, when they're listening to us and stuff. So we take that very seriously. Obviously, if you're going to be, face forward, with an audience, big or small, doesn't matter, then we have to be responsible with the things that we say and, the things we're putting out there, the content, at least we want to be. So we have created a little segment called A Slice of Advice. And Miss Joanna here has our little slice of advice, our very first one.
Yay!
So how this is going to start off is it's going to be a question for you ladies.
Okay.
And see how you would handle it. And then I'm going to explain what it is.
Okay.
Okay.
And we can follow with some advice. But here we go.
Good.
Have you ever found yourself over explaining yourself to anyone and everyone?
Yes. Although I will say that I feel like not that I think it's healthy, but I feel like I've gone the complete opposite now, where I feel if I find myself in my brain where I already see that I'm going to over explain myself, I'll be like, I'm not going to say anything at all. Forget it. I just skip it. I skip the whole conversation. Screw it.
But do you take into consideration that maybe the person that you're trying to explain something to, they're just not going to get it? Or is it more of like, it's not worth it to explain the whole thing?
Depends on the topic, or probably the level of importance of what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah.
So is it an importance to you or is it an importance to somebody else? Because someone else on the other end is probably waiting for your answer. I'm just
Probably.
asking.
Yeah.
Probably to me, not the other person.
Yeah. And that's when I think we talked about ghosting and when
Yeah. Now I get it. Explains a lot.
And this is where
Light bulb.
Yeah. Oh God. Yes,
like,
I do that. I do that because, but I think it roots from not feeling important. You know, like why am I going to over explain myself to you when I've done this before or whatever? And I know that, or which I'm saying that, and I feel like Yvette's going to like mentally punch me, right? Or like if I'm talking to the person and they're on their phone or they're doing something else and I do that. Okay.
I was gonna say, I wonder who that is.
that's how she said mentally.
Yeah. But if that's the case and I'm saying something that's important to me, right?
Yeah.
But I see the person's not giving me the importance to whatever I already started talking about.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to close the conversation and jump to something else that's not so important.
Yeah.
Because I also feel like it's draining to me having to over explain myself and get my point across.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that, but did we answer it right or wrong?
Hey, there's no right or wrong answer here.
Listen, I am a forever lifelong student, and I want good grades.
There is no right or wrong answer to this question, but I think a lot of us, our audience, our friends, I think a lot of people do this.
Mm-hmm.
And the explanation for this is, just picture this.
Mm-hmm.
When you're over explaining yourself, it's no different than raising your voice and having an argument to get someone to listen to you.
Interesting.
And it continues.
Oh, snap. He goes even deeper. Okay.
So when you get into that argument and then your voice starts escalating, that person still is not hearing you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you move on. It doesn't matter how clear and concise you say they have their own beliefs. So it doesn't matter how proper or how clearly you explain something. If that person doesn't understand it,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. Is this more to do with like our emotions?
So,
or a point that we're trying to make across in an argument?
so this is where the emotions come in.
Okay.
So it says they have their own beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
own lenses,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
They believe, sorry, I can't see because 50.
Almost 50.
She is in her 50th year.
Let me help you.
So the world, they see their worlds through experiences. So you practically have to check yourself when someone, just to sum it up, you have to check yourself when someone is trying to explain something to you. Let them finish, let them complete. Before you explain something to someone, make sure that you have taken the emotions out of it. Because when you put emotions to something that you're explaining, you run a chance of explaining it out of anger.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do have a conversation with someone or you are trying to explain something to that person, make sure that it's clear. And it's not an emotional thing, but it's an actual fact, or it's just, look, here it is. And this is why. If they don't understand it, then that's fine. That's on them. You move on. And maybe give them some space and then come back and have a conversation. If you still can't have the conversation, that person's never going to get it. But when you involved emotions into any explanation,
Okay, got it.
you will never be able. It's something that's never going to die because eventually it's going to be in the back of somebody's head and it's going to be constantly brought up. Mm-hmm. So make sure when you're
having a conversation or an
it's
argument,
clear.
It's
clear. Don't explain too much. If that person checks out, that person checks out. Se acabó. It's done.
I think I struggle with this a little bit only because I'm so detail oriented. And for me, if I see like the blank stare or the blank, like they're just not getting it, or they're like rolling their eyes, or if I'm thinking of like an argument or something with like a man, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, or a woman, yeah. But it's like, so if you see that blank look on their face, or like they're just not getting it, and a lot of people listen to respond, they don't, or they hear you but they don't listen, right? So for me, I feel like I over explain things because it's gonna sound stupid, but like I'm trying to dumb things down, because in my brain, it, you know, the way my brain functions, I know that not everybody's brain functions like mine. Like they don't process things like I do. So then I feel like I have to like give all the details so that they'll pick up whatever they're
I
going
want
to
you
pick
all
up.
to know this is her numbers girl. So in her mind, in her argument, she's making Excel sheets. Hold on. These formulas are too complicated. Let me sub-tab this.
Literally, yeah. Like,
Let me create some key lookups for him.
Yeah.
Because they're not getting it.
So to add to that, people can only meet you at on the level that they meet themselves.
Yeah.
So you can dumb it down as much as you want to, but if that person's not checked in and you're not at their level, they're never going to get it.
Yep.
Period.
So
Point
funny
blank.
because I feel like you're taking me back to like a big argument in my marriage. Because as you guys can see, I'm the ghoster. I'm the one that I'll be checked out. Okay. And I remember one time he looking at me like, you're not even listening. And I'm like, you're right. Why are you talking? Why are you talking? Literally. You're right. Leave me alone. Because I mean, at least I am that person. If I am in the heat of the moment, I'm upset or I'm sad, I'm disappointed. Let me process what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Let me give what I'm feeling a name.
Yeah.
Let me understand where it comes from, where it's rooted. You know, maybe you did all the other three things that pissed me off and this was just the last one. But until you allow me the time to process all of that and ask myself all those questions, why am I upset? Why am I this? Then you're right. I'm not going to listen. I'm because my brain and my heart is trying to figure out why am I so upset? And you're I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to figure out why I'm upset. You want to talk.
Very
That
cool.
whole thing's a whole nother conversation.
Oh yeah,
That
it
was
is.
a good one though.
Yeah, it is, but I did like that because I feel like a lot of times as people, we make two mistakes. Either one, we want other people to love us or appreciate us or take care of us like we take care of other people.
Right.
And then that's
never going to happen.
Never. And then I forgot my second. They'll come back to me, guys.
Trust me, the squirrel will come back to the cave.
We'll come back.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so going back to our female friendships, have you had this happen to you where your periods align with like your best friend or your roommate or your daughters? You know,
Yes.
Or they don't, and you get the emotional whatever that the other one has, and you're like a week off,
and you're constantly like this because
her vibe feeds my vibe, and it's like a catastrophe. That happens too. The emotional cycle. Ugh.
Yeah, when I lived in Puerto Rico, I was in a dorm basically,
Mhm.
and not gonna lie, I feel bad because it was a dorm of boys and girls, but it was a Christian dorm, so they tried to instill the male and female roles, right? So so we will go and clean the guys' bathroom, but the guys had the job to take out all the trash of all the bathrooms. And let me tell you, it was like almost 2 weeks in a row of just
a bloody nightmare.
I felt bad for the guys. I'm like,
yeah,
that's a rough one to pick up. Just because of the smell, not because the girls were nasty, but just it's part of nature, I guess, our bodies. And it was terrible because then all the moodiness, right? All the crankiness, sensitivities, all crack, and like, oh my God, all these women with all their nonsense. Yeah. And I just want to like, but that's just because, as you know, I'm an avoidant. So I avoid drama and the fighting. But I think it's...
With your PMS.
It's not fun for men. I'll say that. Well, he was our boss, and he was the only guy, and it was like 9 girls. Man, when that week that he knew he would stay in his office, but then he figured out he brings food, we all feel better.
I watched a reel once, and it was like, guys, it was a guy, and he was like, guys, girls are not complicated. All you have to do is feed them, Feed them.
Fuck 'em.
Feed them something and fuck them. That was it. Like just those three things. Oh, listen to them. Feed them, listen to them, and fuck them. That's it. They're easy. And I'm like, damn, he's right.
Yep.
Most of
It's not rocket science.
most of our problems can be solved with food.
Yeah.
Or that's so funny. Okay, so I want to ask you girls, what do you think about how bad seeds affect the friendship circle?
Oof. I think it affects it a lot.
Oh yeah.
I actually had a trio friendship at work and back in Miami. And this new person started working with us, and man, the whole group just decombobulated. I feel like all of a sudden, like depending on, because she did work with us for a little bit, like 2 years, I want to say. Man, all of a sudden it's like these two were friends, and then the other two were friends. Like all of a sudden, the stability of the friendship, it went away. And I mean, just because I'm a big fan of Karma, then the true colors showed up a while after, and I'm like, I've been telling y'all, she's not real, but at the end of the day, we all have to live our lives, like learn our lessons, and we don't always listen to what other people have to say.
Very true.
But it affects it
Very
completely. But I think it affects all, because it affects the energy in the group, right?
Yeah.
And as people, I think we're too nice too, because we see the bad seed, and instead of taking them for what they are and seeing the action, we're like, but they're a seed. They'll have to grow into this beautiful thing eventually. And it's like, yeah, but it's not your job to grow that seed,
I think that's in every relationship, not just girlfriends.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, we try to see the good in everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we bring people in, we take people out, and I think when you have a good connection of folks, because our circle isn't very big, you know the good and you know the bad. So when you're talking to your friends, you're like, hey, let's just be careful with this one, just in case, because I've noticed a couple things. You can always have that conversation, and keep it close. They can be part of the group, meet us wherever, but you can still keep them at arm's length.
Yeah.
You don't have to incorporate them into your life fully.
As long as I don't have ill will against you or people in your group. Because that's something else. Not every relationship is going to be a deep, profound relationship. There's different levels of relationship. Sure. And it's okay if there's somebody in your group, or maybe not immediate group, but in your group that you're not super close with. But they're still decent people. They're still, they're respectful. Again, they don't wish any ill will. They're not bringing the gang down. All right, you can stick around. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that. I find a problem is when you have this, this one person, 2, 3 people, whatever it is, depending on how big your group is. And then you start realizing, hold on, there's chisme, there's gossiping going around. There's things that are not true that are coming to light. Like, as we keep on saying, I feel like we have to be self-aware of what we allow in our circle.
Into your life and into your circles. Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say something, but I think I'll leave it there.
Yeah. I mean, we have this bad habit as people, not just women, that we want more of people than what they're presenting to us.
Very true. Very true. I will say that I think this is a big reason why I'm so picky about who I allow into my life, into my energy field. But I think everybody's like that. I mean, not everybody's going to click right away, and not everybody's going to, get along, because there's different energies. And you girls know that I'm very much into like astrology and stuff like that. There's a reason why the three of us get along so well. And it's because we're basically 3 parts of a person, astrologically speaking. So some people don't have the ability to have those types of friendships. And something that you said that I fully believe is that you can only meet people at their level. Mm-hmm. You can't expect for the friendship to evolve into something else, or the acquaintance to evolve into anything more than just being cordial. Like you said, when you see them out, you know.
I think in the Hispanic community, there's a little bit of more understanding when it comes to this. And the reason why I say this is because, like, for example, my son right now, he's in daycare. What's the new thing that they're doing at daycare? Hi, friends. Friend this. So he calls everybody in the classroom friends.
Yeah.
Hi, friends. And everything is, it's like, we're teaching them so wrong. You're not everywhere where you're going to be, everybody's going to be your friend. That's so wrong.
Right.
You know? But in the Hispanic community, what the abuelitas tell you, ese es un conocido. That's just somebody you know. Nothing else. And they can come to the house, drink coffee with the family, and leave. Pero es un conocido. Just somebody we know. Like they everybody understands what that relationship looks like to the family.
Yep. Especially the abuelitas.
Especially the abuelitas. They know.
All about energy. So a question popped in my mind. Do you think that men have these special bonds that women do?
I think so.
I think sometimes they have them easier than women do.
You think so?
I think so.
think
Maybe sorry.
Go ahead.
Maybe a lot of times they don't go as deep as we as women go, but they have more support, I feel like. You know, like maybe the conversations don't always go deep, but men, I feel like it's easier for them to create these relationships and then have men time. Let's go do this. And it's more socially acceptable. It's more, and then all of a sudden you're creating these friendships and there's your barbershop time. You're this, you're that. I feel like the world's created more for men. Hence, they have more opportunity to create those relationships. Although not always go as deep as talking about how we feel about life and you should do this better. But I feel like if a guy needs money, they have a guy friend that they might call for money. Or my car just broke down, my motorcycle broke down, they have a guy friend they can call and come through. So men, I don't think they have learned to look for those emotional relationships where you support each other into another level. But it's very easy for them to create relationships for other support, if that makes any sense.
I beg to differ.
Really?
I disagree also.
I disagree.
Ooh, tell me more.
And the reason why I disagree is because I think men go in open-minded, open-hearted, and they have more of a natural way of processing things without judging. They walk in and they're like, all right,
let's talk about life.
Let's talk about, and they get into deep conversations because I've heard my partner have conversations with his friends and they talk about their kids. They talk about this, they talk about that, super deep with no judgment.
Right.
And just an easy flow. Where with women, we're listening to things, right? But at the same time, our wheels are turning. We're like, why did that fool do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, women are very judgy, period.
Yes.
And I think that's why it's hard for us to make those friendships because we're already pow, 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 shooting in there instead of just naturally letting the relationship flow. Somebody makes a mistake, they make a mistake. You don't hold judgment on them because they made a mistake. This is who they want to be with. Let them be with them. Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, as long as it's not affecting you. I think guys naturally are that way. And then when they end a relationship, they end a relationship.
Yeah.
There's no, they're done. When they're done, they're done. It's very different, but I think it's more natural on a male side than it is on a female side.
Yeah.
Because they're less judgy.
Yeah, I agree with you. And to take it a step further, I have always, ever since I was a kid, and I think it's because I've always been so like in my masculine, but I've always gotten along way better with men than I have with women.
Oh, me too.
Because of that, because of the judginess, because I feel like I can't trust women because women are so conniving. They're fucking deceitful. They're always thinking of things, you know, whatever. And yeah, I've been burned. The times that I have been burned by women has been way more than by men. And I'm talking about even romantic relationships. Not that I've had romantic relationships with women, let me clarify.
She's counting those.
But I feel like men's friendships are they always start off on a superficial level. They only need one thing that they have in common for them to bond.
Connect.
Yeah, for them to quote unquote bond, right? But it's not I don't feel it's a deep like connecting bond like the way women do. Women, we kind of are like interwoven and are like what you've gone through and what you've gone through that I've gone through. And then, I mean, our periods freaking align.
Yeah.
Our menstrual cycles align. That's
because
crazy.
We're emotional beings anyways.
Exactly. But I feel like because of all of that, and when we take on a friendship, we actually take it on. It's part of who we are. And, you know, if something bad happens to you, you know, I'm going to be there. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm going to feel it the way you feel it. You know, with men, they compartmentalize a lot and they are very good at, like you said, kind of like cutting people off. They're not super emotional beings. And I'm not saying all men, okay? Because there are some men that are connected to that emotional side of themselves and they are able to have deeper, meaningful friendships. But those men usually have better relationships with women.
Yes.
So I don't think that men create this wolf pack. More men I feel are lone wolves. I think most of them are.
I do.
They're lone wolves. They struggle on their own. They struggle in silence. They don't reach out for help. They succeed in silence too. They build their empire in silence. They're not going around asking for help or this or that. Like they're literally workhorses and they move in silence. They do everything on their own for their families or whatever, you know, but it's not, they don't have a pack. You know what I mean? There's very few men that are in those that have these support systems. But I don't feel that they wouldn't be able to survive without them. Whereas women, our mental health, our physical health, you know, actually depends on having female friendships. Yeah. Like it's detrimental for us to be alone without female bonds, you know. For men, I think they're fine. They could go their whole entire lives. I mean, you know, look at kings. Kings never had friends. They had people working for them. They had people advising them, but they were lone wolves. They're always lone wolves. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. Now, men, you can leave us.
Yeah, let us know. Yeah, absolutely. Because let me tell you, I was agreeing with everything that you were saying. I do still agree with a lot of what you're saying. But I was like, how is that so different to what I was saying or what I was explaining? But now I understand. But I feel like the essence is the same of what I was trying to say, which is I feel like they could have relationships and they also, you know, they have their friends they go play golf with, their friends they go play pool with, their friends at the barbershop, the friends. So they have a lot of friendships and groups to
acquaintances. They're acquaintances. They're not friendships.
Yeah. But I feel.
Yeah, but they think they're friendships because they're going and spending Sundays together to watch the football. And they're doing this and they're doing life together, doing things. But are they really keeping each other accountable? That's what I'm talking about. Like, are they having deep emotional, intellectual relationships? I don't think that's
some
the normal.
Men,
some do.
Men, yeah, some men do.
Some do, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's the norm. I think the norm is a lot of friends, and in their brains, they're friends. We will agree that they're not, but they're friends because that's who they're going to watch the football games. That's who they're going to go watch.
But that's what you see.
True.
You don't know what's happening behind the scenes. You don't know what those golf matches are like when they're out there and they're hitting the golf. They're talking about their private lives. They're talking about their problems. They're talking because we don't know. You can just assume that they went on a motorcycle ride, but we don't know what they did.
True.
On the motorcycle ride.
I think when you, at least to me, right, I think about the 12-year relationship that I had, right? That person had a lot of friends. They played golf. They did this. They did that. But when we were going through something, was he going to them and asking them for advice or asking them?
You don't know that.
No, I do know because I talked to him. He wouldn't. He will never because
he would tell you
him,
that though.
Well, I'm gonna explain to you why. Because to him, he felt like a failure having to go and talk about a failed relationship.
And that's most men's pride will get in the way of going and talking.
That's a huge problem.
And that's why I'm saying they suffer in silence. Yeah. They succeed in silence. They fail in silence. Everything is inside. It's internal. They keep everything bottled up. Now, that's why going back to this whole, you know, balancing masculine and femininity, right?
Season 1.
Yeah. Season 1, go back. Listen. But that's why it's so important because we as women are that support system for them, you know? But why? Because we're women. Because another man is not really going to have that capacity unless he's fully in his feminine. And so a lot of men will tell you, yeah, my wife is my best friend. She's my best friend because she's the one that he can be vulnerable with, that he can, you know, tell her everything. But to the guys, to everybody else, he's just like going along with whatever is going. I feel, again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like male friendships are very superficial, very superficial. When it gets down to the nitty gritty, there are only maybe one or two best friends where they know everything and they've broken down and they've seen them at their worst and this and that, and where they actually have a bond.
Those are the years of friendship.
Yes.
Though.
And
years,
also
years.
it's usually something very traumatic happens. Maybe a bad motorcycle accident, maybe a car, they lose their fathers, they lose their mothers, whatever it is. And that male friendship is there. And it kind of, I feel it's easier for women to build that bond because the way we're built, you know, emotionally and mentally.
And men are more trauma bonded. Like,
Yes.
like they relate to other things that happen to them.
Yes.
And then that's how they're able to.
Yep.
I think it also has a lot to do with the way they're raised.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And how they value relationships.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I think a lot of guys or a lot of men our age.
Well, I think that
are a
goes
little
for,
bit
for both
older.
women or men. I
Yeah.
feel.
But I think for a lot of men our age, or a little bit older, I feel like they were raised with that, like, men don't cry, you don't cry, hold it in, you know, you don't, whatever, like. And then on the one hand, I mean, I think it creates like a strong man in the sense that he's not going to sit there and his
That the
boss is-
emotional control.
Yeah, he has emotional control. He has emotional intelligence. And he's able to master that, right? And he's not going to pop off for every little thing or whatever. But then on the other side, sometimes they lean too far. That it's got to be a fine balance because they do need somebody who they can be vulnerable with, who they can cry to, you know? And sometimes it's not going to be the guys. It's going to be their either girlfriends or like friends that are girls, or their wives or girlfriends, their significant others. So anyway, that was the reason why I said that I disagree, because I don't feel like they have the same types of bonds that we do. Not in general terms, generally speaking. But so I'm going to insert a what the fuck moment here.
Great time. Great time.
Speaking about women, and you know, this is female friendships, right, that we're talking about today. So I watched a reel. I think I shared it with you ladies. I'm not sure. Please, you know.
I don't know. So many.
This
real.
reel that I saw, and actually it was kind of trending, and there's a couple of like not comedian, but funny girls on Instagram that, you know, they're funny. They're pretty funny. Anyway, labia minora. We have to explain this, I feel.
Ay, Dios mío. Yes, you did send us this.
So when we're born with our labia majora, which is like the outside lips, if you will, right? The outside lips. Then you spread them open, and then there's your labia on the inside. That's the labia minora. Apparently, and this is a what the fuck moment to me, because I had no idea until it started trending, that we don't actually get that. We don't develop the labia minora until puberty. And then during menopause, they disappear. So like everybody else, where the fuck does it go? Like, does it fall off? It's a piece of skin. Does it fall
Does
off?
it
Does it like
shrivel up?
shrivel up? Does it like suck in like you were saying? Like, I don't know.
Is
I
there an
don't know.
OB out there that can explain that to us,
I
please?
have questions and I need answers because and I
Well, hold on, because now I have a question, because I'm going to be that person.
yeah.
Do you grab a mirror and take a look? Because you're going through it.
I don't grab a mirror, but let me tell you, the
have
shower.
have you? So I'm trying, after you saw this video,
No,
did you be like, were you like, are they going away? You know?
no, but ever since then, in the shower, I'm constantly like,
Check it out.
Is it still there?
Like,
Is it still there?
Okay, they're there. Like both of them are. Both sets of lips are there.
Oh, that's going to be the phone call of the century.
my goodness.
You're not going to believe it.
It's not there anymore.
It's going to be a conference call, too.
I'll be like, it's officially gone.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Wow.
it made me go, what the fuck? And in the reels, of course, again,
So,
these funny women, they're
So
like,
is the
where
purpose?
the fuck did it go?
Well, my question is, you know,
What's
because
the purpose of it?
correct, because is that
I think it has-
attraction, like beauty?
No.
Because if it's going from puberty to menopause, I feel like it's the prime years, right?
No, I don't think so. I personally think it's reproductive. it serves a purpose, like
Mhm.
for reproduct, or like maybe it's another layer of protection for your vagina, like I don't know, making sure bacteria doesn't go, or maybe when the baby
With the
comes out,
baby, yeah.
I'm sure there's a like
A real reason.
scientific explanation,
Important reason why it's supposed to be there for the time being.
and why the fuck it goes away.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
You don't need it anymore.
It goes away, yeah, because you're not having babies anymore or whatever. But it's like, my real question is, where the fuck does it go? Like, where does it go?
Oh my God, are you on the toilet one day and it's...
I will die.
I mean,
I will die.
Can you imagine?
No, I don't want to imagine.
And is it painful? Like, where does it go and is it painful? What the fuck?
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
You know what
That was a good
I'm
one.
inclined to believe, which listeners, please let us know. I wonder if women even notice that it goes away.
Somebody noticed because it's on a fucking trend on Instagram.
Of course, but I'm saying,
Or TikTok,
I,
whatever.
how
Honestly, I don't know.
how does nobody talk about this?
That's what I'm
I feel like
saying.
most women, I don't know. I'm guessing it. But
I'm told too that you go bald down there after a certain age.
I will attest to that. Although I have had laser hair removal in the past that didn't quite take in most places, but now as I've gotten older, it's actually happening like on my legs and my arms and everything. Like I'm just not growing as much hair anymore. Yeah, like I'm just not growing as much
It's
hair
not
anymore.
all those hormones start going.
yeah.
Yeah, they go bye-bye.
Yep.
So maybe that's what it is. It's like a hormonal thing.
Hmm.
But where does it go? I need to know.
Bum.
I need to know.
Mira, if that wants to go, go. As long as this one doesn't go.
For real.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know.
I actually, a friend's wife. Yeah, she went through menopause and she bolded, and she went not bold, but basically like she had just like little, almost like when you see like cancer patients, it was so thin, all you could see was little hairs and just like a little, because she would like brush it to the side, right? So it was like this little thin, and then it would come and it was like this, and I looked and I'm like, I know, and I'm like, oh, because all I can think of, I'm going there. That's all I'm thinking when I see her. I'm like, that's my not my future, but I. Wow. Now I will say, thank God.
Did you hear what she just said?
No.
She goes, I feel like mine's doing that.
What? Girl.
No, seriously.
All
Wait
that
till you see
hair.
the look on my face when I said it.
No. Trust me. You could see every little pelito
I know
coming out of
almost
her
like
head.
little
you can
peach
see
fuzz.
you can see my scalp a lot. Also because my grays are probably coming out, but
Carry on.
Yeah. Anywho, but
anyway, yeah.
anywho, after like 2 years, I want to say, then she got implants and she looks much better now. But those
have to get that.
But those two, girl, stop it! My gosh,
Look, I will go for a wig. I will pay thousands of dollars for them to put in my wig, whatever. I'll be fine.
Listen, then I could wear different colors.
Yeah. Party mode will be like Yvette's in party mode.
Here comes the
Everybody.
pink hair. All of a sudden, I'm 90 years old. Pink hair. There she is.
it's like the abuelitas that have the
Yeah.
white hair and they put the purple shampoo,
So cute.
and you see the little.
Yep.
That's cute.
The little shine. Yeah. So we had our little slice of advice segment, right? Now, how about knowing when not to give advice? What do you think about that?
I'm good with that. I'm just like, I asked the question, do you want advice or do you just want me to listen? And I don't say anything until...
That's such a good one. Do you want advice or you just need me to listen?
I mean, my kids beg to differ, but...
See, and I it's so funny because, like you just mentioned kids. When my kids come to me and they talk to me about stuff, I listen, and then I'm like, then I give advice because I feel like they're
That's what they're calling for.
Yeah, they're not coming to me just so I can be their sound barrier,
No.
Do they always want, advice? Do they always want me to say whatever? Then I don't know, maybe not, but I'm not good at that though.
My son's telling me, just listen. Okay. And I'm like itching because I'm like, don't be a fool. Don't be a fool. But it's hard. It's hard, but I've learned in my life that sometimes it's just good to be silent, let them say whatever they need to say, and just
I
let it be.
personally am not good at that either because I feel too many people out there need to be told. And it's not that I'm the queen of whatever that I feel like I have a chip on the shoulder to tell people what to do. But I feel like we have um, what is it? The generation? The generación de cristal? The
Crystal.
crystal generation? Is that a thing in Spanish only?
They're living in a crystal house, a glass house.
Glass house.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just what they say in Spanish. I'm sorry. Well, I feel like we're raising softies. I'm sorry. I feel like this next generation, either social media, and I don't know. I feel like it's this thin balance of they're either too soft or they just don't give a crap, and they have no compassion, no sensitivity, or no whatever. But forget about that part. I don't know.
That's not advice though. That's actually raising your kids.
Oh yeah. No, 100%. But I'm not talking about my kids. I'm talking about anybody. If you're telling me you're like, okay, perfect example. I'm gonna bring it to you. Perfect today at work. All right. This girl was crying, literally crying to me like 2 weeks ago, telling me, and it's a girl. She's 22, 23. I don't know. Crying because her boyfriend and they just had a baby. And the boyfriend went into work to a job interview. I'm sorry, wearing a t-shirt and I think sweatpants, maybe. Let's just say t-shirt. Maybe he will put her in jeans. I don't know. And they didn't even let him walk into the interview. And I'm like, duh, he's wearing a t-shirt. Like, you dressed to impress. Like, did you not, So that happened a few weeks. And then this week, they're asking about venues to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to put her business out there. But I'm like, hold on. You just cried 2 weeks that you're broke. Your boyfriend didn't get a job. And now you're trying to do a venue for something that doesn't need a venue. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't need it. Does not need it. We're not talking about a wedding. We're not talking about nothing like that. Something small. Throw the party at your house.
Yeah.
You work in a community. Maybe they can give you a discount in the room that they have here. So many other ways that you can do what you want to do within your means. Right. Or maybe a little bit above your means, but you don't need a venue. So that's why here Linda comes and say, hey, I'm going to be a mom right now. I'm sorry. But you shared this with me. You literally cried to me 2 weeks ago telling me this.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me this. I know it's not my freaking business. But if nobody else is going to tell you, I'm going to tell you. And you don't have to take it. If you don't take my advice, you don't have to take it. I promise you. But if when I was young, I would have had a couple of people tell me, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Because it was an emotional, childish decision. I want the pictures. Because that's what it is. She wants the pictures. She wants the Instagram post. She wants the da-da-da-da. Because that's what everybody's doing. Right? Girl, let's not. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you tell me something and then you tell me something else and it's not aligning with what you're telling me, I just can't just listen.
So you just poured your energy into somebody that didn't
need
your energy
or wanted it, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So that comes
with maturity,
with
over-explaining.
She was not at your level.
I was paying attention, teacher.
Good.
She's not at your level.
Yeah.
And you're not at hers.
True.
So whatever she decides to do is on her. She's going to do it regardless.
True.
So you just wasted 15, 20 minutes over explaining something that had nothing to do with you.
That is true. Her. That is 100% true.
That's what that was kind of the whole point about. We can't save everybody. So it's always good to ask the question, do you want advice or do you just want me to listen? And just listen. Okay. I know that sometimes it's hard and you want to tell them to go, just tell them to go fuck off or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, the person's going to do what the person wants to do. And I will not waste energy nor time on someone that I know is not going to listen.
Maybe if it was my children, I would.
Well,
yeah.
Your children
I'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But
not how I raised you.
At the same time, my piece is too important, and outsiders will not they will not come in and intrude in that piece. Yeah. It's not happening. So,
yeah.
I mean, I learned that the hard way.
Point. No, that's a good point. Very, very good point. Okay, so what about girl code? What do you guys think about girl code?
It's important, that darn it.
Explain what girl code is to you.
Yes,
and
that was what
why
I was
is it
gonna get to.
important?
No, I want to go last because I feel like okay, I'll go first. Whatever.
This is your code. We're not gonna break that down. Or
Well,
anything.
I feel like, and that's what I was gonna get to. I was like, I'm gonna go last because I feel like I've, I guess I have my mental girl code, but I've never like discussed it with anybody. So how is the girl code? If, I guess that's why it's a code because we don't talk about it. I don't know.
No, it's just lines you
It's
don't
a
cross.
universal
Yeah, right.
thing.
I get that. I get that. So in my brain, it's just like obviously not your man, not my man. Leave my man and your man alone.
Mm-hmm.
And exes, and that's it.
Mine is you never cross a line.
Mm-hmm.
You always talk to that person first and make sure. I actually dated a guy that my girlfriend had dated before me, and I actually called her and we talked about it.
Good.
And when she gave me the
okay,
then we dated. It didn't last long, but you know,
she's like,
we
I
dated.
warned you.
And her and I are still friends. But I think there's communication. There's lines that you definitely do not cross. Like the minute you cross that line, I am done with you.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to. That's it. You're gone. That's it. I'll never talk to you again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there are. One is you do not touch my man. Two, you do not, even if him and I are done, you do not go there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because if you and I are friends, you do not touch what was mine, used to be mine, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
You do not go there. My man is completely off limits. Now, if you want to date an ex from eons ago, by all means, have fun.
Yeah.
If you need any notes, let me know. I'll fill you in on what not to do. But
not let him
and
do.
even certain things with your family, you know, crossing a line with the family. Like if one of your daughters had a conversation with me, conversation with you, and she disagreed with you, my first thing to her is, did you talk to your mom?
Mm-hmm.
How did your mom feel about it? She says, Mom didn't agree. Well, neither do I.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, it's that support. It's that there's certain lines you just don't cross. And to me, those are two major things.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I think for me, definitely the guy thing. But also I feel like there's girl code within friendships. It's like, if you have an issue with me, then come talk to me about it. Mm-hmm. Don't go talking to her or to you or to everybody else. And then that person then, you know, goes and freaking lays it on you because they only know that side of the story. It's like, if the issue is with me, then you shouldn't go around talking to everybody else about it until you've already talked to me.
Especially with the excuse of, I'm just getting perspective.
Yeah. Especially if I did something or you feel that I did something to you. You know what I mean? Because 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be intentional. Mm-hmm. If I'm a bitch to you, like really being a bitch to you, that's because I see you. Mm-hmm. I see you. I've already let you in my circle and you did something. You know what I mean? You crossed the line, you stepped over my boundary, whatever. And now I'm being a bitch because you haven't gotten the hint, or we've discussed it already, because girl code works both ways. If I have a problem, I'm not going to talk to everybody else about it and not talk to you about it.
Right.
You know? So, yeah, I'm big on that because, like I said at the beginning, girls can be very catty, you know, and they're, you know, they love to freaking talk and run their mouths and stuff. And
they don't know the full facts on anything when they start stirring the pot.
Not just that, to me personally, which I guess I like girl code. It's like, to me, it's just common sense. Not common sense, but like, yeah, I guess common sense. I don't have another word for it. But like, I hate the fact that with women relationships, I have to be like, don't tell anybody else. Like, why do I have to say that? Like, if you and I are talking, you and I are talking. Now, if it's something that I put on my social media, I bought a car. Okay, you can tell the whole world that I bought a car because I posted on social media. But if I tell you, oh my God, I bought a car. And I know a car could be so like nothing, right? It's a car. Everybody should be happy that I bought a car. Mm-hmm. But if I'm telling you something, why are you going around, oh my God, did you see Linda bought a car? Mm-hmm. When trying, like I thought I was keeping it to myself because that's why it's not on social media. That's why it's not here. I don't have to tell you, don't tell anybody. If the conversation happened between you and I, nobody else. Why are we going around sharing? It doesn't, because I think people misconstrue the, oh, but it's not a big deal. Oh, but it's nothing. Yeah, but it's
not a big deal to you. But if I confided in you and I was, especially coming from me because of how I am and very, very picky about my friendships, my relationships, I didn't just throw that out there. But I think it's very, very true. It rings true, because if I'm telling you something, whether you think it's, not a big deal or not important, and then you go around and you spread it to everybody else.
Not just that, but how uncomfortable is it when you tell somebody else, hey, I bought a car, and they're like, oh yeah, Yvette told me.
Yeah, someone's already told me.
And it's like, dude, I'm coming here to, with, again, something good. We're not talking about anything bad. Good. I'm coming here to share my excitement about my new car.
And I've already ruined it because I've gone to her and told her about it.
Yeah. But I guess there has to be clarification on how the communication has been delivered to.
Well, and then also, so I agree and disagree with that statement, though, because this is how I function. You come to me, you talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm already, especially if it's just you and I, I'm already in my mindset. I'm like, okay, this is just a conversation between you and I, and that's it. So it goes nowhere. You don't even have to say, hey, I'm not telling anybody else, so please don't repeat this or whatever.
But not all females are that way.
Right.
I would say like 90% of females are not that way. And that's it irritates the crap out of me.
So playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Some people actually get truly excited that you got a new car, or you got a new house,
whatever,
or
something good,
whatever.
Yeah.
And something's good happening because someone asked you, hey, have you talked to Linda? I haven't seen Linda in a while. Oh my gosh, yeah, Linda, she is so happy right now because she just bought a house. And there's people that share things like that not intentionally, and it's just because they're truly happy for that person in their situation.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say my personal experience. I feel like most people that are doing that is because they don't have anything else to say about themselves. So they got to talk about everybody else's things. Which, now, your example was pretty beautiful because somebody else is asking you about this person. Now you have something to say. But I'm
just saying, sometimes it plays.
No, absolutely. And I think that's perfectly fine. I feel like that's a little different. I'm talking more about when, not you as a person, but like you, and I feel like we all know this 1, 2, 3 people in our lives where you can tell that most of their conversations that they're having with you, it's talking about other people, and not in a bad way. They're not that they're gossiping necessarily about somebody else, but I feel like a lot of times that's all they have to say.
Yeah. And I don't know. I firmly stand by, and that's why I tell people, because there's people that say, well, if you don't want me to tell anybody, then tell me that you don't want any to. Okay. That to me is making a mental note. I'm not telling you shit anymore about me. I'm going to keep it right here, surface level. Like that's just how I am. Just how I roll, because now I know that I cannot trust you. I'm a very private person as it is. So and people only know what I want them to know about me as it is. Yeah. But when I kind of forget sometimes, or I get comfortable and then I just let things slip out, and then I'm like, immediately I'm like, fuck, I regret saying that. Because I know now people are going to say things. I used to say something to my girls all the time when they had friends in high school. I used to tell them, I know you trust her. She's your best friend. You trust her with everything, but she trusts somebody else too. So if you don't want something out there at all, keep it in here. Yeah. Do not say it out loud. You could talk to yourself in the mirror if you want, but don't say anything out loud about something that you don't want anybody to find out. Because whether it's another female that they trust, or whether it's their significant other, whether it's their husband, their moms, they're going to tell somebody. Somebody else besides that person is going to know things about you. And that to me is breaking girl code. That's what it is to me. If everybody knows everything that I've told you, and it may not be significant things, then I'm most definitely not going to be talking to you about the significant things in my life, because I know now, I've made a mental note, I can't trust you.
Yeah.
Human beings are so complex.
It's not that hard. I'm sorry. I call bullshit. It's not that fucking hard to keep your mouth shut about other people's business. Talk about your own fucking life. Talk about your own fucking life. Don't talk about mine. You know, if I want to talk to people like in a big group and I'm going to say something, you know, about myself or when I'm over here, you know,
exactly.
Then
you want to know about my life? Just jump in the podcast.
Then it's going to come from me. It's going to come from me, not from anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Then it's okay. Did you hear what Yvette said on the podcast? Okay, yeah. You know what? I'm sharing it with the whole fucking world. Go ahead and talk about that. That's fine.
And I stand by you because that was where I said right. But I will say that there is, trying to play devil's advocate with her, that again, I still don't agree with it, but I get what they're doing it. And all I'm trying to say, ladies, is still not okay. A lot of times we've had conversations, like we could have had a conversation as a group about whatever. I'll keep the car conversation. Oh, I think next weekend I'm going to go buy a car. And then it's a month later. And then it's like, oh, remember that Linda was telling me she was going to buy a car? She got it, you know, or let me get more personal.
Yeah.
She's been trying to get pregnant. You know how she told me, you know, she told us that she stopped taking her pill because she wants to have a baby. She's pregnant. You know, it's like, just because I started the conversation as a group does not mean that the whole group is entitled or deserve to know the details of what else happens with that.
So I'll tell you something. I'll add a little something as to my reasoning why I'm so hush-hush about my life in general. And it doesn't have to be big, you know, moments like that, like getting pregnant or whatever. For me, I have found, again, I'm big on energy and thoughts. So when I'm making a move, I move in silence. I'm like I'm in my masculine in that way. I move in silence, and I will tell very few people about my movements in my life. But because also I don't need that outside energy, like trying to
reach you.
Yes. And not to say that it's bad energy, just whatever their fears are, whatever their limitations are, then they will start thinking, oh my God, aren't you afraid too? Aren't you afraid that? Aren't you afraid? Oh, that scares me for you. You know what I mean? So you're putting then your limitations, your negative thoughts, whatever it is that your belief systems are, onto somebody else, onto what they're doing. And that's not fair. It's not fair, because you can actually, and this is a thing, it's a real thing. You can actually interfere with that person's blessings, their path, their journey in life, their lessons, their karma. You can interfere with that stuff. That's how energy works. So that's another big reason why I just keep a lot of shit to myself. And I'm just like, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't need all that.
Right.
But also it's why I cleanse my energy a lot, and, you know, my aura and my energetic field. But anyway, so Ms. Linda has our words of wisdom for tonight.
Yeah, which actually goes really great with what we're talking about, which is kind of weird. I don't know how this is going to be words of wisdom because I have a lot of words, but but there was this person speaking, and it was more relatable to couples. But then when he started talking, I was like, man, this is just any relationship. So he says, know the difference between someone that likes you and somebody that loves you. Then I'm going to change that by saying, know the difference between an acquaintance and a true friendship, right? So an acquaintance is somebody that just likes you, right? Imagine you're a seed, you're a flower. I'm like, we said this, right? It's not a friendship's job or relationship to grow you.
Right.
However, if you're already grown, you're a flower, you're a plant, right? This relationship that you have, what are they doing? Are they plucking you, or are they watering you? Are they just using you, or are they feeding you? Are they just taking, draining? Or are they carefully pruning you because they know that by giving you this advice, you're going to bloom and grow more. So with that said, our followers, our friends, our fellow energy blasters, okay? What kind of friendships are you having? Joanna, you gotta let me try to stay character. This is words of wisdom. We're serious here.
That one just completely caught me off guard. Sorry. Let me move my back up. Carry on.
It's all right. Be wise in the friendships that you have and actually recognize what they are, who they truly are. Like Joanna said, be clear and understand, are they at your level or are they not? Are they plucking you or are they feeding you? And that is it.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much for listening. This is Chats con Sabor.
Bye.